Dr. Allen was a physician here in Milwaukee, actually lived in Bayview and had a practice there, and got to know Lyon Bradley, the older brother, through the X-ray business and the work with carbon. And so Lyon had invented this idea where he thought he could control electricity with carbon discs. And so Dr. Allen said, you know, young man, I think it would be a good chance for you to try this, and I'll loan you and I'll invest $1,000 and see if your idea has any merit. And so Dr. Allen actually was the first president of this company. And then when they decided, and Dr. Allen decided that he would separate ways and he would go to Washington, the state of Washington, and they bought him out. But Dr. Allen was a very strong supporter, and therefore you see the name, even today, Allen Bradley.
The Allen family originally came from England and settled in near Newbury and Watertown in New York, and then eventually went to Shrewsbury, where there's still a homestead of that part of the family. And then the part that I belonged to came west and went to Milwaukee. And Stanton's father was also a surgeon and went to Harvard and graduated from the New York College of Physicians and Surgeons, and became a surgeon in the Navy and was on the USS Albatross as an assistant surgeon there during the Civil War. Stanton, of course, with his father being a doctor, was got interested in medicine, and he also went to the New York School of Physicians and Surgeons. And he also studied orthopedics in Germany for a year and was the secretary of the orthopedic section of a medical conference in Berlin. He and his father had a combined practice here in Milwaukee, and obstetrics was one of the things that they did. And Dr. Stanton was the attending physician at Peg Bradley's birth. Among the things that my grandfather did besides being a doctor was in many other fields that he helped Lyon with. And he did a lot with the business decisions and contracts and that sort of thing. And he wrote the contract to begin the compression rheostat company. And so his name got to be first on it. But I think the reason for that is that he also was such a big part in his life, because he was a father figure and a mentor and advisor. He was just there all the time for him, whether it was in the lab or wherever. Besides my grandfather helping with the $1,000 very early in the company's history, in 1914, when things were not going so well for the Allen Bradley company here, the company borrowed $10,000 from the McLaren family, from Stanton's in-laws. My father, Wyeth, was born here in Milwaukee and was here until the time that his father, Dr. Stanton, had some ill health, and my grandfather's doctor said he should go west. He should get out of the orthopedic surgeon business and go west and supposedly have a more relaxed life. And so he went out to Hood River, Oregon, and had an apple orchard out there. He came back and started working for Allen Bradley at the time. And he rose to plant manager and was also very active with the sales department and in many facets of the company. My father stayed at Allen Bradley for several years, and then when Fred Luke came back from New York, he had gone to New York to work in sales in New York with Allen Bradley. And when he came back, my father, being a very ambitious man, realized right away that there wouldn't be room for the two of them. And so he left and went into consulting engineering. Or no, at first he left and then went to Briggs & Stratton and worked there for a while. And then went on eventually to having his own consulting engineering, and did that for many years. One of his consulting jobs was to find efficiencies in factories and So, of course, I think he lived that kind of life, too. He was very efficient in what he did, and one of the things was not to say goodbye. That just took time on the phone. So when he was through with his conversation, he'd hang up. The University of Michigan asked my father to come over there and be the chairman of the mechanical engineering department in Ann Arbor, and that was a very good thing for him, as it turned out, because he enjoyed being over there very, very much. It was an entirely different life, entirely different way of working, a more relaxed situation, although there were problems there too. But he really, I think he benefited very greatly by being there. Soon after he got there, then they wanted to have an industrial engineering department, and so he established that and was chairman of both departments. He helped to establish the computer system for the engineering department there, and which included having to build a building for the computers because they were so large, and it had to be air conditioned. I thought it was very interesting to learn that my father had been a pallbearer at Lyon's funeral, because I think that was a nice way of carrying on the role that his father played in Lyon's life. And I think to me, it was very meaningful.